My girlfriend cheated on me in front of me and now I feel lost. Not necessarily looking for advice when I write this, more just of an excuse to rant because I don't really have people to rant to and just let out how I really feel. I, 19M, recently broke up with my girlfriend, 18F, of 3 years because she was a compulsive cheater. Nearly 2 years into our relationship she came to me and told me that a guy KSSED her at the club but she didn't KSS him back and she ended it straight away and said she has a boyfriend. It was difficult but I tried my absolute best to trust her and move past what happened, but then about 7/8 of a month after it happened I found out from her friends that isn't what happened. She KSSED him as well and went along with it and didn't tell me the full story. Her friends assumed that I knew what actually happened, but obviously I didn't. Again it was difficult but I decided that due to it being in the past and nothing else happening as far as I was aware, I would give her another chance. Then 3 months after this happened, she was out with one of her girlfriends, and they ended up KSSING all night and I then had to go and meet her because she was too drunk. I didn't know about her KSSING anyone until later that week when her friends again told me what happened. Like an idiot, I decided I would try and make the relationship work and stay with her. For 2 months there was a constant strain on our relationship and it wasn't working so I ended things because it was too difficult for me to stay with her when I didn't trust her at all. Once we broke up, I was a complete mess and this led to me dropping out of university, so I messaged her saying that I want to try and make things work. We ended up spending a weekend together and it was amazing, and while we weren't officially back together we discussed that we were still exclusive to each other and doing anything with other people was still cheating. Then a couple days after that, I went to a club with a couple of my friends and she was at the same club with some of her friends who I'd grown to be quite close with, the ones who told me about the cheating. We both knew the other was going to be there and our groups ended up intertwined. Just from looking at her, I could clearly see that she was really drunk but none of her friends knew that we were speaking again and getting back together so I felt weird trying to make sure she sobered up. A few minutes go by and she ends up grabbing one of my female friends and started KSSING her right in front of me, and then my friend went along with it and they walked off together. Obviously I was shocked so her 2 best friends took me aside and they apologized for my ex's actions which is when I told them about us meant to be getting back together. They told me they had no idea and I ended up spending the rest of my night with them, and my friends. When it came to leaving the club, my ex then reappeared with a random lad that she met and had spent the night with. Everyone was disgusted with her but just wanted to make sure she got home and got some rest which we eventually did after a lot of arguing. We are completely broken up now, I have no intention of ever getting back with her, and I know a lot of people will call me all sorts for giving her that many chances and believe me anything you say I will have already told myself. I became a doormat for her to just step on and use. That was just the backstory, but I feel so lost now. I'm living on my own in my uni flat just seeing out the rest of the year because I've already paid the rent. I've told all my friends and some of my family what has happened and they are all here for me and support me. But I just feel like ranting to them and breaking down to them will be a burden they shouldn't have to deal with so I'm using Reddit as my ranting place. I loved her so much, and I know I don't deserve to have to deal with that but I honestly don't think I will ever meet anyone that I got along with as well as her. The only problems in our relations. Hip came from her drinking, and I know drinking isn't an excuse but I don't honestly think she could ever dream of doing that sober. She just turns into a horrible person when she drinks and it's destroyed our relationship and me for the time being. I know everyone says this about their partners but she genuinely was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, she was absolutely gorgeous and I just miss her. I miss before what happened. We used to spend most of our time together and I honestly can't think of any problems we would have had before that. We were perfect in every way. We had an amazing S*X life, we liked all the same things, we would make each other laugh and every second I spent with her was pure bliss. But then she had to go and mess everything we had up for a drunken KSS with a lad who was also her best friend's ex-boyfriend. I would never get back in a relationship with her, I know that it isn't worth it, I just miss what we had and I doubt that I will ever feel as strong a connection with anyone than I did with her. I also know a lot of people will say that it's just young love and I don't know what real love is, trust me I do. I loved that girl more than life in itself. She was my everything and we had an amazing relationship before it all happened. Right now, I don't know what to do with myself. She's the only person I've ever been with, and I'm the only guy she's ever been with. I don't know how to date, I don't know how to meet girls, I just don't know what to do with myself and I'm terrified that I'm going to continue to let this relationship ruin my life and miss out on possible future relationships, experiences because of it. I do absolutely despise her. I want her to feel the same pain that she's caused me and I hope that one day she realizes how much she has FCKED up and she has to live with the guilt of her mistake for the rest of her life. But at the same time, I love her. Of course I do, she was my first love, and that doesn't just go away overnight. With my friends and family I've put on a strong face and I've made out as if I'm doing fine, but it is eating away at me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not as bad as I thought I'd end up being, but by no means am I doing good. If by any chance anyone has actually read this much, then I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to my rant and feel free to comment anything you have to say, smiley face.